All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Pop. I am your host, Dr. Shané of SP Consulting Group. I am your organizational development psychologist, as well as your licensed psychotherapist, executive wellness coach, and all things the person that's going to help you get your life together. Work-life balance. That's what we do here. We are on this pursuit again, and we have a guest. What do you know? Our first guest of the season 8. We're only a couple of episodes in. This is episode 5, so make sure you catch up on the other ones. Our first guest, Miss Elizabeth Smith, who is with Better Health. She is an integrated health practitioner, and she's one of the amazing women that I came across in my pursuit of peace, who's doing the same thing. What do you know? We're not in this alone. We just got to speak up, and that's what we're doing today. And I'm so grateful to have you on, Beth. Thank you so much for coming on to the Pop. So I'm going to have Beth introduce herself because she knows how to say it better and with more finesse than I ever will. She's amazing, you guys. Beth, introduce yourself.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So I am Beth Smith. I am an integrative health practitioner and online health consultant. And so let me explain a little bit about what that is. So integrative health practitioner, the word integrative is it. I use functional medicine and lifestyle changes to help women that are dealing with hormonal imbalances, that have heard everything's fine, it's all in your head, or your labs are normal, or just eat less, or you're just depressed. And these women come to me and they know that something more is going on and nobody has listened to them. And so that's what I'm here for, to listen and to believe you and to tell you it's not all in your head. You're not crazy. There's something going on. So let's find it. So functional medicine is really a more holistic approach, and we use functional medicine lab testing to look at what's going on in your body. And then we use different lifestyle methods. We use work on your nutrition. And I don't say diet, that's an ugly word, but really nutrition. We focus on nourishing your body and giving it the things it needs to be, the version of you want to be, to live the life you want to live. So we focus on that. Stress management. Stress is a huge part of our lives, especially as women. We take on so much and we bring in so much and we give so much, but we forget to refill our cups. So really working on that, really focusing on our nervous system and resetting our nervous system, sleep, movement, all of the things that are going to help our body serve us in the way that we want to live our lives. So that's really what I do. Supplementation, sometimes it's never where I go first. Sometimes we need it to support our body, but really looking at it from a root cause level of why are you having these symptoms? Let's kill the problem at the root so that we don't have to take a pill to suppress the symptom.
Right. And I love that. I love that. I love that. And I have, and all of the people that have ever watched this or listened to this podcast know that I suffer from, I wouldn't even say suffer anymore. I live my life after being born with sickle cell disease. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times we run into issues as women when we are doing so much already, and then you put on top of that physiological issues, which when we're stressed out, it leads to it anyway, right? Like weakened immune system and all the things that come from that. And I love that. And before we get into a little bit more of, because I really want to hear more about some of the tips and tools that you provide, those that you work with, that the listeners, that they can glean from that as their golden nuggets, right? But I'm noticing something. You had let me know that the name of your organization was Better Health by Beth. And I know that usually when your name is in it, it's for a reason. Mm-hmm. I want to hear about your story, your pursuit of peace, and how it's going now. So let me know what's going on with Beth.
A lot. A lot. So yeah, my name is in it because it's my personal story. I'm here because of the journey that I took in the ways that I had to fight for myself. And just very, very brief overview, my health history. I suffered from and did suffer. I'm like you, no longer suffer, but for a long time, I suffered from chronic infections. And also at the same time, I kind of had two paths. I was dealing with a lot of chronic infections, and my immune system was very compromised. At the same time, I dealt with a lot of hormonal issues. And so I never really recognized or knew, because nobody ever told me, that the two were related. So I would suffer from 3, 4, 5 sinus infections a year. And I would go to the doctor and I would get an antibiotic and I would feel better. And then I would get sick again. And it was just a vicious cycle that went from my early 20s into my mid 40s. At the same time, my hormones were always out of balance. I was diagnosed with PCOS. I had a lot of hormonal issues, a lot of pain, a lot of issues there. And so in my mid 40s, those things kind of started to collide. And I ended up with a lot of time in doctor's offices. Antibiotics weren't working like they had before. Had a lot of pain, just aches and pains, apart from the hormonal, just painful periods, those types of things. So I ended up with a hysterectomy because it just had gotten to the point that the doctors were like, this is the only thing that's going to solve your problem. So in that moment, because I'm dealing with constant pain and all of the hormonal imbalances, the mood swings, all of the things, I was all for it. Because again, that's what my doctors told me was the thing that was going to fix everything for me. Because of all of my immune system issues and my issues with chronic infections and the antibiotic use of many, many, many years, once I had the hysterectomy, not only did it not help things, my body started to crash. And I no longer was responding to antibiotics.
Wow.
To the point that I started getting staph infections that the antibiotics wouldn't treat. And I would wake up and my body would be covered in hives and my hair started falling out and I gained 60 pounds. And I just was not living any quality of life. I didn't like the body that I was in. I felt like my body was betraying me. I didn't recognize who I was looking back at in the mirror. And I would go to my doctor and I would just cry and I would say, I can't lose weight no matter what I try. I just gain weight. And I was down to about 1,200 calories a day. I was in a job that was very physical. I was walking probably 4 to 5 miles a day in this job. And I would tell the doctor, I'm walking miles every day. I'm hardly eating anything. And I just remember the day that everything kind of came to a head. I had continued to get these infections that antibiotics weren't treating. The doctor had told me, you have no immune system left. You're just going to be sick, but never offered any ways to help improve my immune system. And then the kind of the last straw was when he said to me, when I'm like, please test my hormones, please, there's got to be something wrong. And he says to me, it's about calories in and calories out. I find it hard to believe if you're not losing weight that you're eating as little as you say you are.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
I ended the conversation right then. I walked out of the office and I made the decision that I was going to take responsibility for my own health and changing my own life. And so that's when when I was in the depths of all of that, I made the decision that I was going to make a change. I started just every night I would go down the black hole of the internet. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that I was not willing at 48 to live this way for the rest of my life. It was not the life that I wanted for myself. And so I just did tons of research and started learning about healing my gut. That was where it was all at. That's where your immune system is. It's what controls your hormones. And so I started there. And from there, I just started learning more and more. And then I found functional medicine. And that was when I had learned a lot and I had changed a lot and I was improving. But when I found the functional medicine piece of it, and I was there, I realized there was a test that I could do to tell me what was actually happening inside my body.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changed for me. So that's kind of my personal story and how I came to do this for other women. And I do have male clients too, but most of my clientele is women. So really, when 2020 happened, I think I did what a lot of people did. I started reevaluating my life, and I was in a career that was not bringing me any joy. It was definitely not bringing me peace. And I wanted something else.
So wait a minute, let me interrupt you. So you're telling me that you were going through all of this while still showing up to work?
Absolutely.
Did anybody know you were going through all of that?
No, my husband and my best friend.
Right. No one at work.
No. Mm-mm.
You still showed up.
Every day. Yep. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. And, and I love that you said that, because I didn't share what I was going through because I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. And what I realize now is that there are millions of women going through exactly what I went through. And that's part of what my passion is now. When I started sharing my story and realizing that so many women are going through the same thing, it is so isolating when you are going through something like that and you feel so alone and you feel ashamed that you can't fix yourself. And so, so I was showing up for work every day, and I, on the inside, I was miserable, but I showed up and did what was expected of me every day.
And I bet you looked fine.
On the outside, I looked healthy. Now I had gained a lot of weight, but again, people assume when you've gained weight that you just couldn't get out of the cookies.
Right. So, you're just eating a bunch.
So, exactly. And I don't even I don't even know that people realize when you put on that much weight slowly over time and you see the same people every day, like it's not even something that you notice so much.
And I really like that you said that, because even though you were suffering, not only were you still showing up, but people get used to you and don't even realize that you need help. And that ends up perpetuating that feeling of isolation, that feeling of being alone in your fight to feel better, to have better for yourself. It's not even about making, the next, however many figures. You know how a lot of people are talking about that now. Yeah, hey, let's make you $1 million in 2 days, and it's like, no, there's more, especially when you have a purpose. People aren't seeing it. You are going through it alone. And I want to show the other side of that coin of loneliness, that sometimes that time alone is what you need to make a decision.
Yeah,
and you made a decision.
Absolutely. And I had a catalyst that kind of was my breaking point. But once I made that decision that I was going to change my life, there was nothing that was going to stop me. And it's not that I just made that decision and then overnight everything changed for me. There were down times, and there were times that I thought, I can't do this, or this isn't going to work. It wasn't a straight line from I'm going to make the decision to change my health to I'm suddenly well.
Right.
But it was, once I made that decision, there was something that changed inside of me. And I knew that no matter what, like you said, money is great, but I didn't care if I made that next however many figures. What I cared about was, when I'm 70 years old, am I going to be able to go hike a trail with my husband? Because that is something that I loved, and I could not do that. I physically could not do that. am I going to be able to be around for my grandchildren and chase them around? Or am I going to be the person that at 65 can't go anywhere or do anything because my joints ache and I, am overweight and I'm tired and I'm, and weight is in itself not a bad thing, but when it's making you feel exhausted and physically incapable of doing the things that you desire, then it's time to make the change. And again, for me, the weight was all about the inflammation in my body, the hormonal imbalances, all the things that were going on. It didn't matter how little I ate, I was not going to lose weight because I had too many other things happening in my body.
Right. And we're not necessarily talking about weight gain as a, your body, hormonally as we getting older, you gaining weight. We're not talking about weight gain because of an unhealthy diet. We're talking about weight gain because your body is off. It is not in alignment. So it's not just, lose the weight, feel great. It's no, there's something that you need to address there. And I even talking about weight gain and hair loss. Your girl sitting over here wearing a wig because of how much stress I went over during my divorce.
Yep.
Gained weight, then lost it. Gained like the fluctuation because of, whether it's a health issue that is diagnosable in the sense of like you said, any issues with your thyroid, any issues with any other organ in your body that's creating the weight gain, or stress.
Because stress is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
It creates so many problems in our bodies. And with my clients, I find that 90% of the time, stress is at the root of so much of what is happening. So yeah, it is huge. And that's honestly where I start, is regulating that nervous system, because if your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, your body cannot heal.
Ooh, you're saying something, because what's crazy is a lot of people get comfortable in that place.
They do, because that's all they know.
Right.
We live in a world that we constantly have things coming at us, and our bodies are so used to being in that fight or flight mode, because the jobs that we work in are go, 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 and high stress and high demand, and the things that we're involved in, our kids' activities, and we got to hurry up and rush out the door, and we're stuck in traffic, and that puts us in a fight or flight mode. And it just, our bodies get stuck in that position, and we get so used to living in that we forget what it's like when that switches off.
So for you, when you made that decision, because I even wrote that down, like, that's why I've been looking down, writing little notes as you're talking, like, you made a decision, you reached a breaking point. I want you to share what conversation you had with yourself at that time.
So when I had the breaking point, the conversation was really, this can't be my life. This won't be my life. And so it was really, I don't know what to do, but I am not going to quit on myself. And so I'm going to figure it out. And it may take me time, and it may take years to figure it out, but I'm not going to quit on myself. And that was really, I knew that living in a constant state of anxiety, looking at the person in the mirror, and hating that person was not acceptable. So yeah, that was the conversation that I had with myself, was this is not acceptable.
So I'm even hearing another gold nugget that you may not have even intentionally dropped. And that is how stress, whether it's health condition induced or any other way that it's triggered, can lead you to a place that you're no longer in love with yourself. Like you had a level of hate and disgust for, how am I right here? I should know better. I should have caught this. Why can't I fix this now? And
how did I let myself get here?
How did I let myself get here? And what's crazy is that's what ends up keeping people in that stress response.
Absolutely. So Dr. Will is a functional medicine provider that I admire. And he has a saying, he says, you can't heal a body that you hate. And that was profound to me, because that was something, I hated the body that I was in. And until I came to terms with the fact that this is the only body I'm ever going to get, and until I can love myself, I'm not going to be able to heal myself. And so that's something I talk a lot about too, is your thoughts become your feelings and your feelings become your actions. And so if you believe that you're not going to heal, you're not going to heal. But if you believe that you can do it, and that your body has the capability to be the body you need it to be to live the life that you want to live, it will happen. And you have to tell yourself that over and over. And again, it's not a straight line. You're going to have days where you just feel defeated, but you have to show up for yourself every day, because nobody cares for your health more than you do.
Yeah, that makes me think of how some of my clients I was working with, they were dealing with that very issue. And it ended up being a discussion of how you can cater your self-care efforts to be specifically to what you need versus just hoarding self-care stuff.
Right.
You know, and it got to the point, almost, I can say 100%. With every last woman in business that I work with, we begin to talk about self-love. Whether it's because I noticed something and asked them a question of, why did you make that face when I said that you're amazing? Why did you look like you didn't believe me? You know, and it's like, wow, what you just said is so profound. You can't heal the body that you hate. But it is the only body that you have. So what are you going to do about it? I love the fact that what you displayed and what you're sharing with us is not just how to look at health from an integrative space, but also look at it from, what are the thoughts in your head that don't belong?
Exactly.
And how you're going to get to the other side of it, you know, like recognize that, yeah, you are your worst enemy for sure. And you're making it worse. You're essentially fueling the self-fulfilling prophecy. I can't, so I don't, versus enough is enough. I need to step out on faith. I need to push and realize that my mouth, my words, my thoughts have power. And I got to do something.
Absolutely.
And it has to be different. It has to be different. Because if it was something that was going to work that you've tried already, it would have worked and you wouldn't be having that conversation.
Exactly.
Like, you just wouldn't.
It's even, to take the thought process a step further, it's not even just I can or I can't. For me, it wasn't I can do this. It was I will do this. I will do this. I will heal my body. I will have the energy to do the things that I want to do. And again, it's not about, I always want to make sure with anybody I work with, it's not about the size of your body. It's about having a body that allows you to live the life that you want to live. What are the dreams that you have for yourself? And what is it that is going to get your body to the point that's going to allow you to live that life? Yeah,
absolutely. And literally, it is a journey. It is a strategic pursuit. It can't just be, like you said, yes, the first thing is recognize what you're hearing, what you're fueling, what narrative just keeps going. I always talk about, what's that story about in your head? What's that story you keep repeating? You know, and then when they say, oh, you're right. But, you know, and I say, no, it's not a but. It's an and. And now what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
Because You repeating to me the story in your head is only reaffirming the story in your head, as opposed to you stepping aside and saying, this is what I'm going to do in this moment, in this hour, in this day, in the next moment, an hour and day. Like literally going to that place where there's this saying that I heard when I was studying mindfulness-based stress reduction. And the teacher would always say, whenever I would talk about how annoyed I was with like the body scans, you know, learning the different ones, because I had an overactive mind. And it was like drop by drop, your bucket will be filled. We can't get to the other side if we keep seeing the entire forest.
Exactly.
It has to be not even one tree. For some people, it's like just get a little piece of that, just scratch a little bit of that bark off,
branch,
you know.
Exactly. And that's what I say, because again, we live in a fast food kind of world. We want everything today. Yep. And that's how we've been conditioned. And so what I remind my clients is that it's one step at a time. Every day, do one thing. You don't have to do everything today, but do one thing that is going to move you forward.
Yeah.
And if you do that one thing today, and you do that one thing tomorrow and one more thing, eventually you're going to be there. And like you said, it's one step at a time. One thing I love to do with my clients, I love this. I actually, just before we got on this, I was with a client and we just did an update, and she was shocked and amazed at the difference. So when I start working with a client, I always have them give me a list of the symptoms that are what their complaints are.
Yeah.
And I have them go through and rank them from 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, 0 being not at all, and 10 being it's interfering with my life. And of course, the reason they're with me is because they're all on the 7, 8, 9, 10 range. And then as we go through the program together, I have them do it. So she started with me in February. So we had her update it today, and it was astonishing. And you don't realize that because every single day things are improving, but you don't remember how you felt 6 months ago when we started working together. And so it's always a good reminder that I didn't do anything that happened overnight, but the little things that I did for myself every single day made a big difference. And so we can look at it. And that's one thing I would tell anybody to do. If you're starting on a journey of trying to change something that you don't love and you want to create a life you want, write it down, right where you are today, rank it if you need to, do whatever, and then put it away. And every month or every 2 months, go pull it out. And before you look at it, write down where you are in that moment and then compare it. And you'll be amazed at how much has changed.
I love that, especially because, okay, I know I'm saying I'm loving a lot of stuff, but it's because it's the truth. I love it because even when we're talking about like strategic planning or productivity planning, I love that planner, and I forget the terminology for it, but essentially, as you are marking off what you're doing, what your goals are for the week, for the day, you know, at the end of each day, you're assessing how well did you do and what got in the way, you know, and being able to have that, because then you can catch yourself from doing some things that are subconsciously your habit of ineffectiveness. You know, like you can be in a habit of, it's not just procrastination. You can be doing a whole bunch of stuff and not getting any results because you aren't being very clear on what am I trying to achieve, by when, and how much time is it going to take me to do it? You know, like it goes into this science of being able to break it down so that you can actually get the results, but it also calms you down a little bit so you're less anxious. It's like if it's not contributing to what it is that's your bottom line, even for the day, like if you did nothing but that one thing in the day, would you feel good? And I always tell people that is necessary, because we have to tap into our reward system, because otherwise a lot of these different actions, they fail and fall short of a habit because we aren't reinforcing how much it is helping us. Whether it's helping us move toward a milestone, a target, a goal, or, it just feels good to accomplish it and say, I actually did this. I've been stuck in this or that place and I actually did it. And so that's why I love it, because it's like, it covers so many things, not just with your interpersonal health, like your inner health, mind, body, spirit, but also how you interact with others. Who are you? Like, everybody, even if they don't say anything, they're watching.
Yep.
And the fact is that more people are dealing with similar pursuits of peace, similar pursuits of success in different areas of their life, but they feel alone. So they're watching people that they see as successful. They see as, ooh, there's always so bubbly. I wish I could, oh, they don't look as stressed. I wish, things like that, or even their health. This person is, I found myself comparing myself to other people that didn't deal with chronic pain. Well, of course they can do that. You know what I mean? Like, of course they did. But it's like, but what could I do to change? And so I want you to share, maybe like you've already given a bunch of gold nuggets. So I'm hoping all the listeners, whether you like new here or not, that you are really taking note. I always say, get your notebook and your good pen, because we don't want any any interruptions from a skipping, annoying pen when you're trying to write down some gold nuggets that you're going to apply to your life. But write these things down. I want you, Beth, share with the folks out there in the interwebs 3 things that if they are feeling stuck, if they are feeling like they're close to that breaking point, but not there, and they think, maybe if I just keep pushing a little bit more, and we know better, what are 3 things that you can give them of steps to take to prevent or to get past and on the other side of that breaking point?
So I think number 1 is, don't isolate yourself. Reach out to somebody, whether it's your inner circle, or if you don't feel like those are the people that are going to support you in whatever it is that you are dealing with. Reach out to someone professionally, reach out to somebody on social media. There are tons of people on social media that are specifically talking to you and your specific issue. So reach out to them. They will respond to you. Those people are there on social media to share their knowledge with you. And so just reach out, find a community. There are Facebook groups for everything. Find a group that you can get support. So that's number 1, is don't try to do it alone. Reach out and do not isolate. That's the first piece of advice. Number 2, focus on regulating your nervous system. Get your body out of fight or flight. I talk tons about it on my social media channels. But again, there are people that are way more educated than myself on that you can find. YouTube is a great resource. You can go in and just type nervous system regulation and you'll find a million videos that will help you. There are books. So work on getting your body out of that fight or flight mode. And then the next thing I would say, and this might seem weird, but it's so key. Focus on nutrition and sleep. If you're not properly fueling your body and you're not getting rest for your body to rebuild itself, your nervous system, your thoughts, your everything is going to be just out of sync. And so those are the 3 things. Don't isolate, work on your nervous system regulation, and really, really hone in on your nutrition and your sleep.
Absolutely. Because I tell you, of all the things that I wasn't quite yet sure how to do, it was the basics. Let me make sure I'm eating. What am I eating? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to eat, because I'm one of those that get stressed and then I don't eat, I don't have an appetite. So I was intentionally going to the healthy stuff because I knew If I'm going to eat a little bit, it has to at least be healthy, right? But also it was, what am I doing before I go to sleep, and what am I doing first thing when I wake up? I always tell people that when they are trying to get themselves out of a rut, one of the things that I talk about is doing that sort of brain dump, that mindful journaling, where you're dumping out stuff, whether it's first thing in the morning, if you see yourself having trouble when you first wake up, or right before you go to bed, let it go, because that sleep is gold. Yes. People go crazy. Like people that have insomnia, they report themselves as being crazy. Yep. Like there's a lot of stuff that can go down when you don't have sleep. And it's a lot of stuff that can go down when you're not eating right, you're not sleeping, and no one knows it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because you're isolated. Yep. Because you aren't sharing, and you haven't consistently maintained, even if it's a short or like a short list of folks that you're connected with, or like you said, a short list of groups that you're engaged with. Protect your peace in some of them groups, FYI. Yeah. But
make sure you get into a good group. That's not
into a good group for sure. And all of that is so important. I really love that. I want to even pull up here. I love the fact that on your website, and again, for the listeners, we're going to have in the comments the links and everything for how you can get in touch with Beth. And we're going to hear from her here, how you can get in touch with her. But I just wanted to show really quick her website, because when it's all said and done, there's a resource right here for you immediately when you come on here. And here we are. And it's get your free quiz and find out if you need to achieve hormone harmony. So there's free resources out there. So you can't even use the excuse that, oh, I don't have the money. Yeah. Everybody figures it out. But one thing that's for sure, your stress will lie to you and say that you can't get this stuff. But even if that's the case, there's free resources. Here's a quiz right here. You just put in your email and get it right till you take that quiz, and see if that's one of the reasons why you are dealing with all that is building up in you, physiologically, mentally, spiritually, all of the above. Okay. So get into that place where you are saying enough is enough. I don't want to hit my rock bottom. I'm not going to wait on my rock bottom, and I'm going to do something today, one step at a time. So I hope y'all got all of these gold nuggets. I'm just saying, because that's what we really try to pick up along this way. And remember, this is for our pursuit of peace. You can have more peace in your life, more harmonious living, when you are addressing your stress, when you are addressing, the physiological things that are going on with you that are ending up manifesting as what you see as, oh, I'm just overwhelmed, or I'm gaining weight. Like, you have to pay attention to your body, because it may be your hormones. Your hormones may be out of whack. And hormones out of whack, sleep out of whack, stress overload, you're only going in a certain direction on that hill. Yep. And it's downward. And it's hard to get back up. And I even tell people, Beth, when I'm in session, like, you're going to dig yourself down this rabbit hole far enough to where you're going to look around and you not even see any light anymore. Mm-hmm. So you don't even know what to grab to help yourself. Yeah. You can't see it. Don't get to that point. And if you are at that point, hear us very well and clearly. There is help. Just put your hand out there. And that hand, theoretically may be Facebook group, reaching out to Beth, reaching out to me, taking advantage of the free resources that are just out there. Like, the internet is crazy. There are so many people out there trying to help you. And Beth and I, we can't help everybody. So we want you to know that it's time to take action. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Beth, before we go, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So I'm on all the social media channels. So you can find me on Instagram, Better Health by Beth, Facebook, Better Health by Beth, TikTok, Better Health by Beth, and my website is betterhealthbybeth.com. And if you want to just have a quick chat and see that on my website, there is a place to book a free consultation. So I do 15-minute free consultations, and we can talk about where you're at and what your goals are and if it's a good fit or not. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to throw in there, with all the free resources that she's providing, with as easy as it is to remember Better Health by Beth, don't make any excuses. We don't do excuses here. We don't do excuses here. We have no sympathy for excuses. We understand them, but we have no sympathy. We listen, reach out. And if you consider what you have to lose, keep that at the top of mind when you do your one-on-one with her. Keep that at the top of mind when you reach out, when you do your quiz, or if you are reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want to work with Beth, or I want to work with you, Dr. Shané. Like, either way, remember, what do you have to lose? Because sometimes that's the only way for you to realize that it's time to do something different. Okay, so y'all know I love you. We gonna thank Miss Beth Smith again of Better Health by Beth, integrated health practitioner, as well as what type of consulting you do, so the people know.
Online, so I can help you no matter where you are.
Absolutely. You heard it. All right. Well, you guys take care. Y'all know I'll see y'all next time. Just make sure that you click like, click share it with folks that you think is looking, a little rough around the edges. They usually look all sparkly and they looking a little dull. Reach out to them, share this, subscribe, and make sure that you go and check out Beth Smith at Better Health by Beth. Till next time, you guys take care. Bye.